This computer. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. I'm glad. I feel like I've been like gone for weeks, but it really has only been 1 week. But oh my gosh, y'all, I can't even begin to tell you the stuff that I learned. So I really can't tell you a lot of it, but I do want to share a couple things with you that I think is okay for me to share. So they gave us a lot of statistics that really opened my eyes. And let me find them too. All right, so we know that now we are pretty much a virtual company, right? But now that things are also opening up, we need to look at our other possibilities. And because, you know, I feel like that we're completely limiting ourselves by only strictly being virtual. So they gave us some numbers. They said 89% of our shows are regular virtual host rewards shows. Okay, so we could guess, right? That sounds pretty much, I mean, there's only 3% that's in person currently. 4% table shows and 4% shared rewards. And you think about the shared rewards and the potential in that, I think that we really are missing the boat on, on doing that. And then also it made me realize we're missing the boat on bridal showers, right? Because now is prime bridal season, and then also fundraisers. So anybody here ever done a bridal shower or a fundraiser before? So a couple of us have, but I feel like a majority of our team has not done even a bridal registry, even offered that. I know it's not in the template. Why is it not in the template? I don't know. I didn't put it in there. So that's a big miss that we've, not done. So I feel like we need to get that added back into our templates. We also need to do training on it, which I know last night we had talked about. I wasn't on the call, but who did the call? Stacy and
Wendy and Leah.
Yes.
Wendy.
Yep. So I know y'all were talking about that. So we need it's important for us to kind of get that back in people's, or put it originally in people's minds. So that was a big eye opener to me. And then I got to find my other stats. Hold on. This is big. As soon as I can find it.
I did registry in my template, but I don't know anything about it. So yeah, I'm curious to learn more about that.
What do you think?
Talking about the registry?
Yeah, I've never done that before.
So before I got on the call last night, I actually went into Connection or Consultant Corner. And I went to the chef bot and typed in wedding registry, and it literally, the thing that popped up, it's under explore somewhere, but it took you step by step. It was very explanatory, which was different from when I first started doing the registries.
Okay, yeah, I heard you say that last night. So thank you, Stacy.
All right. Yeah, so I think we really need to focus on that and training that more and putting big, goals out for that, maybe introducing them to it. Can we find somebody that would be willing to do a bridal registry? I have an old bridal show template, but it's outdated. It definitely would need to be updated, but it has a lot of bridal wedding pictures in it and stuff that we could use. And then as far as a fundraiser, I don't have any kind of template that has a fundraiser, but you could easily just run the regular template and add slides in for fundraising. But that's something that we as the director team really need to get on board and start promoting. Okay, this killed me. New consultants. So let's think about new consultants that come in our business. And they gave us a number on 100 new consultants. And we can think about this in our organization too, because we we haven't really gotten to 100 this year, but we have had 100 consultants in 1 month in our business. So out of 100 new consultants, how many do you think actually submit anything? Period. So write that down. A consultant that would submit $1 through $499. How many out of 100 do you think actually do that? And then, huh?
I was gonna say a number, but I'm not following directions, sorry.
Well, just write it down for a second. And then well, you know what, let's do it backwards because this will make more sense. Out of 100, how many do you think actually submit $2,500? And oh, sorry, let me put that in their first, this is their first 30 days. Yep, in their first 30 days. How many do you think actually submit 2,500? How many do you think actually submit 1,250 in their first 30 days out of 100? How many do you think submit 500? And then how many submit one, like between $1, $499? And how many submit 0? So put in the chat. Oh, and I didn't say 5,000. How many do you think out of 100 submit 5,000? So start in the chat. How many do you think out of 100 submit $5,000 in 30 days?
You said 5,000?
Submit 5,000 in 30 days. Okay, so I see 8, 15, 2, 3. Okay, so now tell me how many do you think submit 2,500 in their first 30 days? All right, Joni says 36, Jessica says 5, Kelsey says 5, Bethany says 12. Okay, so let me tell you, 5,000, one person out of 100 actually sells 5,000. So 99 do not. All right, out of 100, 7 people sell 2,500.
Wow.
Anybody shocked by this?
Yes.
All right, so let's guess 1,250. How many do you think qualify in their first 30 days of business? $25. 1/4 of the people we recruit actually qualify in 30 days. Does anybody ever get discouraged when you have consultants that sign out, they don't do anything in 30 days? You know, 75% of the consultants in the company do not do anything in 30 days, do not qualify in 30 days, 75%. So don't feel bad. Okay, the reason I want to give you these numbers, because we're like, what are we doing wrong? Why can't our team qualify? What's happening? It's the company average. And so I want us to see this, and I want us to think about it and think about how can we fix this? And we actually were already thinking about this beforehand. So let's take it our step further. And how many do you think actually earn their whipped cream maker in 30 days? Who said at between 500 and then 1,250? How many do you think? $50, $86, $30. Only 44 people sell $500 in their first 30 days. Less than 1/2. Okay. And then how many do you think submit between $1 and $499. So sell anything, have one sale in the first. Now take out these other ones. So we're thinking if 44, so we have 56 people left, right? How many of the 56 do you think actually? Bethany's close, 31 people. And then 25 people sell 0. That's a big deal. That's a lot. Those numbers were, I had no idea. So when I'm looking at those, oh, in fact, did I tell you 5,000 is one? I did tell you that, right? One person sells 5,000. So we kind of know that, right? And then we had some numbers with Fast Track, and I'll have to find those too. But just looking at those, we know that consultants are not getting off to the start that they could. And also it lets us know that we're not abnormal. Like, I know we get a new consultant, and we really want our new consultant to sign up. We want them to qualify. We want them to sell all this and earn all the rewards, but we get discouraged when they don't. But statistics show that that's kind of normal for this business. And I know we don't want to be normal. We want to be extraordinary, not ordinary. So we can absolutely, with this information, take this to heart and to mind. And how are we going to work more closely with our new consultants to bring this number up so we don't fall in this category? So our organization has higher statistics. I really feel like that we are on the right track with this new system that we're doing with Project Broadcast, and really focusing on the launch show first. I know it's hard. I know it takes a lot of time to help a new consultant get started. But if we can start off a new consultant successfully, think about the growth that your team would have with one good, successful rock star. Right? What if you could duplicate yourself and have someone like you on your team? How great would that be? So, doing a more hands-on approach with our new consultants and really partnering with them. Even, if you have multiple new consultants and you get several of them on a same call and you work them, through different things together, taking that instead of doing everybody individually, because it can be very daunting, very time consuming when you are talking a new consultant through, like maybe you're on Zoom with them and you're like, click here and do this and go there and whatever. What if you take bulk, batches of new consultants and you get them on the same call and you're doing it for all of them? I had a couple new consultants that wanted to come by my house and needed hand holding because they couldn't grasp the whole virtual thing. So I had 2 that were going to come, and I'm like, y'all come together. And then I spent that same time helping them get through it instead of 2 hours on this one and, an hour and a half on this one. So I batched my time that way. I've been thinking for a while now that I really want to extend our new consultant call series. We used to have a series of 2 calls that we would alternate. So call 1 would be week 1 and 3, and then call 2 would be week 2 and 4. And it would be like the next step. So, I kind of wanted to get back to that, but with everything else that we have going on, I hadn't really thought about or taken the time to implement that. So I just kind of wanted to get your all's feedback based on what we've started to do with the Project Broadcast and the Google Classroom. What do you feel like is working? What's not working? What can we do to supplement? What ideas do you all have?
I'm just looking at everybody, and everybody's either got their head down or like Stacy's like, I love the idea about when first of all, Google Classroom, again, I said it last week on the director call, bravo to you ladies that did it, Jessica, Jennifer, and Melanie. Thank you. Thank you. My 2 new people are like, this is so much easier than the whole guides and Dash and all that. And I love the idea of maybe doing more than just once every 2 weeks, a new consultant call. if, depending on the time frame, I'd even be willing to help at least, one, take a turn one Thursday night or whatever. I think that's good.
So, talking with some of the other nationals while we were in Chicago, there are a lot of national teams that offer weekly new consultant trainings. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like something else, we have so much out there and so much, I get it because you're filtering in new people every single week. I mean, is that something that we really want to invest our time in? Would it be beneficial? And maybe even thinking about offering a different day and time, because those people that could not ever get on the Thursday night call, would it be better to do a different day, a different time? And if so, who would want to be in charge of it? So those are all the things we have to think about when we think about adding on something else.
Okay, I have a suggestion. And it may end up being an every week call, but I've set in on Melanie's new way of she's doing her new consultant calls where it's getting started, hearing inspirational, stories, and I think it's amazing. She does an amazing job, and I hopped on last week because my girl Jessica was is doing it this month with her, and they did a fantastic job. So I do think that she needs to continue doing what she's doing because she's doing it well and she's a rock star at it. Hence, Melanie, you can't quit. Anyways, my next thing would be, so I feel like it may help that, and it may just be a once a month kind of call, and we do it at the end of the month for everybody who's joined that month to hop on this call. And we sit out, like we say, hey, okay, so have you set up your direct deposit? Have you set up your website? Have you set up your, and I know Melanie does it in the new consultant chat, but I also know that people may mute that chat. And I think that's a lot of the new people that come on my team's problem is they're not doing they're skipping steps.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hurting them more than it's helping them, because I know for a fact I have one I love her to death, but man, like, oh wow, like,
I get what you're saying, but I don't feel like that a general org call would be the place to do that, because say that Joni were the one leading that call, she could possibly have 25 new consultants from all different directors that are saying, yes, I did that. No, I didn't. How's she going to keep up with, that wouldn't even be her place to track where they're at. That's what we need to do as their director.
Well, I put this on there and it burnt the plastic.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about though, Jessica, because I've got 2 new chicks and they're young. They're like in their 30s, but they're constantly asking me, what about this? What about that? I'm like, did you go through the guides? Did you see that on Dash? And at first I was saying, okay, it's guide number 2, section B. And then I'm like, no, you're a grown ass adult. You need to figure this out and get it. So what if we offered, I do this with my team and I don't offer it every Sunday, but I call it office hours, where they can call or text me, and I give them a 2-hour window every Sunday afternoon from 1 to 3, and they can either call or FaceTime me. What if, kind of like a hotline, what if we offered that once a month for new consultants?
That's a
It
possibility.
could be an open Zoom call too. If we did office hours, people could just pop in and out as they wanted to on a Zoom call.
Mhm.
yeah, and that's yes. So because I do think a lot of, I'll just speak for my team only, is people are putting the cart before the horse, that saying, and they are not running parties, and they're getting aggravated because they're not getting sales. Well, come to find out, they're not doing A, B, and C. They skipped A. They did A, B, and now they're at E. And of course, C and D's has to get done to make to make a successful party. And that's the thing. And I've been telling them till I'm blue in the face, have you done this? Have you done that? And no, well, you've got to do A and B and C before you can do E, F, and G. And that's our problem. And I do think Google Classrooms will help that. Now, we're only on day 2 of it being launched to the org. And I do think Google Classroom is going to help a lot of that. It's just, I feel like, and it may be that we just need a checklist for our directors, so you can contact your new consultant. Have you done this? Have you done and check it off, check it off, check it off. Because I know, Jennifer, you sent me something similar, and I thought you were making up something recently to add to that. And it may just be that we are not, as directors, not necessarily hand holding, but we're not, I guess, because we've done it for so long. I know for me, I've done it for so long now that I forget that you haven't set up your direct deposit. I forget that you haven't done this, and this.
Well, I sent you all this, didn't I? This new consultant record that I made. Maybe I didn't
You
send
sent
it.
it to me and Melanie to look
Right,
over it,
hold
and that's as far as it went.
Okay, let me take this background off so y'all can see it. Okay. All right, so this I made because I was getting very bogged down with having 10 personal team members or 15 personal team members a month and trying to keep up with all their things. So I did create this, and I can send it to you all. I guess we got to the process of proofreading, Jessica and Melanie did, and then I didn't get any further than that, which I do feel like there's more that we could add to this, but this is definitely a start. It does have a checklist of, did you add them to Project Broadcast? Did you put them in the first drip? Did they join the personal team? Did you put them in the new consultant chat group? Have you set up a phone call? And then gives a space for a date. Do they have their launch party set up? It gives a space for a date. And then it has places for their first host. So then when we talk to them on the phone or they message us, we can write all this down. So I have this binder that I'm now using. And then I also have this cover. Y'all know I like my month at a glance and my party thing. So this is the same idea with new consultants. And I did have one that had categories at the top, but I decided to take them out and change them because I don't think I like the ones that were up there. So this is the one that I was using that already had the categories at the top. And then I decided to clear them out so I can start over and decide exactly what I want in there. But then you have this is all the consultants that joined my personal team in February. And then it has their dates that they started, their 30, 90-day dates. So I can look at this and say, oh my gosh, she's about at the end of her 30-day date, and I can message and say, hey, don't forget, whatever. So, I know it's frustrating feeling like we're hand holding them, but I do feel like in order for them to get a good, successful start and feel confident in doing this, I do feel like we need to hand hold them at the beginning. There's very, very few people that are self-starters. Very few that will go into Dash and just run a party and keep going and book the shows. We're looking at point something % of the people, right? So you think of the 99.5% people that really do need that reassurance, that need that guidance, that need to continue, message or check in with them weekly. One of the things I feel like I need to add to my new consultant drip is every week, send a message. Hey, how are things going? What do you have going on this week? How can I help you? Because we need to be checking in with them every single week. I know that we have our personal business to run. We have this other team that's going. So it is easy to go 2 weeks and not have talked to that new consultant. And that's 15 days or more that they're already out of their 30, 90-day mark. So I do feel like we need to keep it in front of them, because knowing that, how quickly time goes for us. Think about a new consultant that just hadn't gotten around to get started. And then they're out of their 90 days and we're giving up on them because we think they're never going to do it. They gave up on us because they didn't think we were going to help them, whatever the reasoning is. So me personally, I am trying to be in touch with them every single week. And that's hard because we got a lot of, we have a lot of hats to wear. But I do feel like new consultant onboarding is one of the most important hats that we can possibly wear. Hi, baby Kent. Hi, buddy. Hi. Hi there, you're getting so big. How is he so big? My goodness. Where's
Getting
big
like
boy
a
Mark?
monster. He's playing.
Oh.
Hanging out. Can we track on Google Classroom? Like, do we as directors have access to see all the guides that our new consultants have completed? To see like where they're at? Because that might be a
Well,
good way to track too.
Okay, so here was the thing. I either add everybody directors as a teacher and y'all get every single notification that comes in. And then I had some people that was with us in Florida that we put on there, and and when people commented or when I added something or I edited something, it was bogging down emails that they were getting 5 million emails a day. And so the only other option was, well, there was two options. It was remove everybody as teachers and only leave me, Jennifer, and Melanie on there to answer questions, or cut off comments. And that way nobody can comment. And then we didn't really want to do that because if somebody was needed help and they honestly commented there, we didn't want to miss that. So those were the two options, and it may be the more that we mess with Google Classroom, the more I will find ways around certain things. But to save on everybody's sanity and not getting all the notifications and things like that, we had to remove everybody except for the ones who were working on it. Now I can go in, me, Jennifer, and Melanie can go in and find out. Jennifer, can you let me screen share for a minute and I can show them what I'm talking about?
Why don't we just let them choose? So like if Kelsey wants to see, just be prepared for the emails.
Right.
And, it's up to the director if they want. Because to me, it is super helpful for go and look and I can tell what they've done.
So
Right.
originally, when we decided to do this, the thought process behind it was going to be that we make like a standard classroom and every director then copy and make their own classroom. So Joni would put her people in her classroom so she can keep track of who did what. And then Kelsey would put her people in her classroom so they could see, she could keep track of just her people. Because we had such a big org, think about 600 people going in this and us trying to keep up with that. So that was the original thought. Right now, we haven't done that because we're just figuring it out. And so I think it's okay where we're at now, but the more we add to this, the harder it's going to be to keep track of it. And then Joni would have to sort through all 100 new consultants to find her people in there. So I think it would be smart for us to duplicate the classroom for our own teams eventually, right?
Right.
And
So,
then
and
also
still-
keeping in mind too, that there are directors in our org that don't work to the level that we do, that will never create their own Google Classroom. I mean, it's just a fact. So then if I know the ones that have their own Google Classrooms, I could then facilitate the directors that don't do it and maybe put their people in my Google Classroom. I don't know. I'm not sure how that's going to work.
So I did that video for y'all to share on how to work through Google Classroom and how they need to submit that they turned in that assignment. And this is the reason why they need to be clicking that they, like on each assignment saying turn in assignment or submit assignment or whatever after they've done that section, is because this is how we can track that they've done it. And then they can also be able to go back into and pick up where they left off. So as they submit that they've done it, you can see that we can now see what they've done. That's why I really wanted everybody, I did that video on how to, how Google Classroom works for you to share with your new consultants when you invite them in there. Like when you share the link, share that video on how to do it, because honestly, that's the only way we're going to be able to track it and what they've done, is when they hit submit their assignment. And that's why I focused on that part in that video. So that way we can go in and be like, oh, Elizabeth, I see that you did this, this, and this, and then you stopped. Well, if you go back and you pick up where you left off, like the 2 sections below that is going to explain to you where, what you're looking to do or what's going wrong. It's going to kind of hold them accountable too, that they're actually doing the training instead of us constantly answering the same question over and over and over. Does that make sense? This can be like, okay, well, I see that you started with the training, but then you stopped at creating your business Facebook page. Well, if you go back to Google Classroom and you start where you left off, those first couple things are what you need to do to get started. And you can say it nicer than what I just put it. But this way it will show us what they've done. By turning it in, it does show us that they've done something, and we can kind of figure out where they got left off at and where they're at to kind of know where to help them. Does that make sense? So that's why I did that video that I did, so that way it will show us what they've done and what they haven't done. And I can see who's all in there. So if you're saying, hey, Jessica, can you tell me if my new consultant has, went in and set up their account with the Google Classroom, and if they're in there? And I sure can. And I can do it on my phone too. There is a Google Classroom app, just FYI. And I highly recommend downloading it, because there's all those how-to videos that's on here that you can shoot to real fast and copy and paste them over. So there is a Google Classroom app for your phone. But yeah, that's why I did the video, and that's how we can track what they've done and what they haven't done when it comes to the Google Classroom. So I'm game for whatever. I mean, if anybody else wants to be added to that, that's totally fine. I was told that the emails were overwhelming. So that's when we decided to take, because I was still editing too. So it was still giving everybody an email every time I did something in the classroom. So I'm game for whatever. You just let me know.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. What do you all think would be most effective and helpful for you all?
I would copy it and make my own, because then I could add even like if people have specific questions on my team, I can add more personal how-to videos or whatever. I just don't really know Google Classroom at all, so I'd have to learn everything before setting up my own.
Yeah, and that's kind of why Jessica did the bulk of it. While we went ahead and did like this mock template over, because it's better to have something out there than nothing. And I would much rather offer this to the whole org than say, I have mine done, my personal team has ours, y'all just go do your own thing. Like, that's not, we're team players. We want everybody to be successful at this. So I think it would work most effectively if we each had our own, but I get it takes time to do that. It takes time to get there. So, I mean, I'm fine with using this as the general one until everyone else can get theirs made. And until you can, we'll just use this one. And if you want to be a teacher or whatever, then just, shoot us a message and we can make you. Just know that you're going to get you very well could get a whole boatload of messages, emails and stuff.
Is there a way to change that in your settings to where you can control what you're getting notifications for? Because I would think you'd be able to change like what if you don't want emails for certain things.
I could never figure it out. If somebody can figure it out, absolutely share it with me. And yeah, I knew though, every time I mess with the settings, it does change the classroom code, which changes the link to the classroom. So I quit messing with it because we had testers in there testing it out. And every time I did that, they couldn't get back in because they needed the new classroom code. So I quit messing with it because I did not want to delay or mess it up of any type. And I just honestly have not had time to Google like a YouTube video on fixing if there is a way. I just could never figure it out in the settings. And like I said, I stopped messing with it because I didn't want to continue changing the class code and all that mess where people couldn't get in it. So yeah, I am more than welcome if somebody figures that out. Absolutely. I'm more than welcome to have help on this thing just because, you know, I now got to get back to my other stuff that I was neglecting while I was getting this done. So, yeah, and I would love to have help on it. So if anybody does, like, I'm not saying this is my baby, you can't get in it. Don't mess with it because it's not, because trust me, it takes a village to raise a child, and I need a village to do this just because I was down for the count over the weekend sick. And so, yeah, things like that happen.
So I do see if you go into the personal settings, like in your profile, there is under notifications, you can like move the thing over where it says receive email notifications.
On your personal profile, like as in each person individually would have to do that?
Yes.
Okay. So it's not something I can change in Google Classroom. Each person individually would have to.
Right. Which
go
would be
in and
good
set
because
their
if they did
notification.
want the emails, you know, they could, but if they didn't want the emails, they could just turn it off.
Okay. See? I wasn't missing something. It was on everybody's personal email that would have to fix that.
Okay, so does anybody have any other feedback or questions on that? I think it's definitely a step in the right direction, you know, with our team members and getting, you know, help and simplify, because I just heard so many people say they were overwhelmed. And again, if we are touching base with them every single week, we can kind of get a feel for how their mental state is with being a new consultant, because we all remember being a new consultant or doing anything new and how overwhelming it can be. Like if I try to pick up crocheting and somebody says, here's a needle, here's some yarn, go do it. Oh, what? Y'all know what that would look like. It'd be a hot mess, big ball of knots, right? So just keep that in mind. Your new consultant would make a ball of knots if you don't give them, you know, individual attention. I could easily, well, not me, I can't teach anybody to knit because I don't know how to, but you know, a professional could teach someone, like we could all watch, right, and learn how to do it together. But some people work slower and some people work faster. And some people are left-handed and do everything backwards like me. So I would need personal attention with something like that. So we need to just kind of keep that in mind when we're working with new consultants. And I know it gets aggravating because I'm like, I got other stuff to do. I don't have time, but this is the future of my business. Like my new consultants are the future of our business. So if we don't treat them, you know, well and handhold sometimes, then they just won't do it. So what's the point of signing them up if they're not going to do anything? And then on the same note, there's some people that we could help them and help them and help them, and they still not do it. So you do need to figure out when is the point to just bless and release, right? Because I don't want you spending too much time that's not going to benefit anybody. I mean, you kind of know when you have that person. And if you don't know, if you have a person and you need to brainstorm with me and be like, Jennifer, I really want to drop this consultant. Can you help me talk through this? And then we can kind of figure out, you know, I do feel like a lot of our coaching should be referring them to where to find the information. Because if we do continuously give them all the answers, guess where they're going first? To us. But if they'll figure out real quick that when my new consultant say, I don't know how to set up so-and-so, can you tell me how to do it? I'll say, here's the video, watch it. And then after that, let me know what questions you have. They know I'm going to send them a video. They know I'm going to tell them to look in Dash. They know I'm going to send them somewhere else. So then they're like, she's no help. I'll go check there first. And then I'll ask her when I can't, if I can't figure it out based on that training. So I think that's important because you do have to nurture a relationship by guiding them and teaching them where to find it. Because if not, they'll be in the business for a year and they'll still be asking you first. And I'm like, you know where to find this, you know where to go, it's in guides, it's in Dash, that, whatever. So it took me a while to learn that too, because I wanted to help everybody. I wanted to give everybody the answer. You can't always give everybody the answer because then they're going to come to you first. And then you're not getting your own personal business done because you're too busy answering everybody else's questions.
Well, just now while we've been chatting, I reached out to one of my newbies. She joined like 2 weeks ago. I've already got 3 parties lined up for her. So I sent her, I said, don't forget, but we got to get this going. And she goes, well, how do I start? I'm like, okay, I sent you the Google Classroom. I've sent you the guides. I'm like, have you done any of this? No. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm kind of like, Jessica, I'm like, why did you even sign up if you're not going to do it? I'm not doing it for you.
Yeah. Well, and then I would, if somebody were to come to me and say, how do I start? I would put them back in the drip campaign. Here's number 1, watch this video. Comment watched when you watch, even though I sent them that already. And what I'm really trying to do too is, the first drip campaign, does anybody not know what I'm talking about with their drip campaign? The first one is 3 messages. It's, hey, welcome to our team. They have to watch a video and comment watched. And then the second one is tell me a little bit about yourself and sign up for order payment account. And then the third one is to set up a call with me, and it gives them my my call schedule thing. So if I sent them that first message and it's a couple days and they haven't commented watched, I will send them a message. Hey, make sure you comment watched once you watch this 2-minute video so we can move along to the next step. And then if they get to that next one and then they don't reply to that one after a couple days, and I think maybe a couple days might even be too long. Maybe I need to do it the next day and say, hey, did you set up your order payment account? Make sure to comment set up when you've done it so we can move along to the next step. So if somebody's been in for a couple weeks and they say, where do I start? I don't care if I send them that message again. I'm going to send it to them again. And I'll say, did you get my first text? Here's my first text again. Like, come on, people, come on. And sometimes, you might just need to get them on the phone and then just say, we have a system. It's baby steps, 1, 2, 3. Let's, start here and let's move along. So, yeah.
Okay, so back to our thing about new consultants, like either adding on to Melanie's or what do you want to do? Or is that the whole thing about what we just said with Google Classroom?
I think I'm confused. Adding on to Melanie's what? So her
On new consultant calls.
Yeah, I don't know the right answer to that. I know, I'll tell you for a fact. I cannot add another. I can't, like, this Rockstar call series will have to be my last one I do on Saturdays because my family is very upset with me for my workaholicness. And so I do need to back off on some of that because we had a big old thing when I got back from Chairman Circle. So I will continue out this Rockstars on the Rise call on Saturdays, but for my family, I need to not do Saturday or Sunday calls. And that's not to say that you all can't do it. Like, you have your own orgs, your own teams. You all can partner together and do whatever you want to do. Or, I mean, we could do it as an org. I just can't lead it and be responsible for doing that on the weekends because that is supposed to be my family time. And I used to be really, really good about just being family time on the weekends. And then I get all excited about the growth and I want to help everybody. And I just can't do that. So I wouldn't be able to be responsible for leading or heading it up or whatever. Not that we can't do it, because y'all are perfectly capable of doing any of the things because you've been involved in them. You know how they're run. I mean, you could do whatever.
I was going to say, I think, with as many directors as we have, and I mean, I fall under you, but I'm not directly under you. I always try to help out as much as possible. And I feel like as many directors as you have under you, there's no reason that we can't keep everything going. And it doesn't have to be just one person running it for the month. It can be, they need to hear from different people and different perspectives. So
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
just
I
my
agree.
input.
I agree 1,000%. Because I could say the same thing over and over again, and somebody may not relate well to me or understand it. And then they hear Jessica. I don't know how many people have told me, like, Jessica, they just relate so well to Jessica. I don't know if it's because she's so transparent with her story and is more relatable. I think also it's super important for people to hear. I'm not anything fabulous, but my numbers look fabulous, right? I mean, I sell a lot. I recruit a lot. I think it's kind of intimidating for them to, learn from me sometimes, because they're like, oh, that's just Jennifer. She's a national. Of course she's doing that. I could never do that. But then they see someone at another level that is doing well, but not, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think they need real people, and sometimes they don't view me as real. Like, I'm as real as they come, but they don't know that. They don't know me as a person. They just know me as a national in the company, right? So I think it's more important for them to hear from everyone else, from other directors, from advanced directors, from people that they feel like are closer on their level, that hadn't been in for 18 years, right? Because for them to hear somebody that's been in for 4 months and is doing amazing things, or a year that has done amazing things, that's more impactful, I feel like.
I was going to say, like, it was crazy because Kelsey led a call and I had heard the same thing over and over and over. But when she said it, it like just sunk right in. Like, I was a sponge, and I messaged her right away. I was like, oh my gosh, like, I think actually the next day, but it was so crazy. And it was about batching your time. Like, you've said it a million times, but when she said it, it really stuck with me.
And I think also important for them to hear from directors that also have other full-time jobs, because I know I have a lot of people in mind, they're like, Joni, I just don't have time. And I'm like, I know that I work full-time, but it's my own business. So I have more flexibility than someone that has to, like Jill, go to an office and sit there 9 to 5. So I'm with both of you. I think the more they can hear from a variety of all of us, they can relate to something with somebody besides Jennifer.
I do agree with that, especially because Jill has a full-time be at work job, and she's one of the top directors in our org. Like, she's doing phenomenal things. People that have a full-time job don't think that they can do what we've done, because we don't have full-time jobs, because this is what we do during the day, right? So that is super impactful. And everybody has their own story that different people relate to.
Plus, if we're doing host coaching trainings and stuff like that, if it's the same person doing it, they're not getting new ideas.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And I don't ever mind helping with calls on Monday night and stuff like that. But I do think we need to encourage some of the other people, other directors, to at least do one Monday call every quarter or something, just so we can hear from new people, new things.
Or if they work on Monday nights, to help in on like the Saturday Rockstar call, or help Melanie out on a Thursday night or something.
Yes. Yes, I do agree with that. And I kind of, yeah, I think it kind of should be a mandatory thing. If you are a director, I mean, you're getting paid to lead your team. And if you're always putting and none of us are in that situation, the people that don't ever get on the calls are not on this call, right? I mean, you know who they are. Well, you don't know who they are because you never see them. But I do feel like that they are getting paid as directors or advanced directors. They need to be responsible for some of the duties. So what I would like to see happen, again, nobody really has the time to add this to their plate, but if we had kind of set topics again of what call 1 looked like, what call 2 looked like, and maybe had some kind of rough outline. And then we went through the line and we're like, okay, it's your turn to do it. I would definitely put a stronger director in with a weaker director. I wouldn't put 2 weak directors and say, y'all have fun, go do it, you know, so maybe pair them up. But I think that, I mean, I definitely think they should be. And if they can't do Monday nights, which I know there are several directors that can't possibly do Monday nights, but they could maybe do a Thursday, help on a Thursday call or a Saturday call or a daytime call or something like that. So, or if they can't do any calls, they need to be responsible for something, you know, maybe helping in one of the team chats, or I don't know.
Well, I just know I know I've said this to other people who's asked me, and I think I've even said this to Joni. When your team starts seeing you get involved and you start helping on calls and you start taking the responsibility to do this stuff, they will see their numbers grow. They will see their business grow. They will see all this stuff happen. And Joni, can I get an amen on that? Because once you started doing some of that stuff,
Yeah, and I was
girl is beating me, and I'm on her like white on rice, trying to
Yeah.
beat her back. But I mean,
better keep rolling with me.
and that's the thing is we need to encourage these directors. I mean, I do think it's for the best of their Pampered Chef business too that they get involved.
I agree. And like yesterday, the public school didn't have school yesterday. So I actually finished up at 6:30 last night instead of 7:30 teaching. So I sent a video to my team and I said, okay, I know we all have stuff going on. I get it, life. I know I'm never on the Monday night calls, but I always listen to replay. So I challenged whoever would be on the call, told them I was going to send them a free gift. And I actually had 4 members that usually don't get on the calls that got on the call yesterday, and I'm sending them PC dollars. But I made a point too, to make sure I got on the call and made it a priority to, like Jennifer says, lead by example. But I can't always do that.
Yeah, I agree. So
So
what
if we
is,
get like a schedule of all the lists of calls for like January, February, or March or whatever, and then like we do for the Monday night calls, you have a sign up on the director page. If we like say, okay, we're doing Monday night calls, we're doing the new consultant calls, we have the Rockstar calls, like who can sign up for what, here are kind of the topics.
yes,
We can all sign up.
yeah, we could do that. What do you all want the rock stars called to look like after March?
Do we have to do a rock star thing every month?
No, but I will tell you what, I don't know if y'all have noticed the people on your team that are joining the Rockstar calls, but I have quite a few people working towards directorship that are on those calls. And I do feel, I am seeing, I don't know exactly everybody's numbers, but I'm seeing, like, I know Joni's, a couple of her gals are on there and they're doing phenomenal. I was trying to yesterday go through the whole team org and see who our rock stars are and, you know, try to reach out to them because we're looking at, you know, promotions happening in the next 2 weeks before the end of the month. So this is about when I start identifying who has the sales and just needs directors. So that's something I wanted to talk with y'all today, and we just got to talking about other stuff. But I'm seeing some big stuff happening from the Rockstar call. So I absolutely think it's beneficial. I mean, no, we don't have to do it. We don't. I mean, we can do it whenever. We were trying out Saturdays. I do think Saturdays are a good time for a lot of people, but they're not good for other people. I mean, you know, some people have kids sports that are starting up now. on Saturdays, and some people just don't want to get up early. But those, I mean, I don't know.
Well, I'm good for any Saturday. You just let me know. Saturdays are my best days to get on, be helpful.
Saturdays
What
are
if we
gonna
kind of
start being-
cycle through it for every 6 weeks? Like, and have, if like the people who can do it, maybe like 2 or 3 directors do it every 6 weeks. Not the same directors, but like me, Jessica, Joni do this first 6 weeks, and then Melanie, Jennifer, Stacy do the next 6 weeks, and kind of cycle it, like, so that we can keep adding people as we see them as rock stars, but not every director is, or not the same director is doing every single time, because that would be every Saturday forever and ever.
Or, yeah, so, or even if you had the same set schedule. So if we do a series of 4 calls, the first one being a booking blitz and the 3 next are follow up, if the same people does the same call. So if it's always Jessica and Joni does call number 1, and always Kelsey and Stacy does the second call, and always Bethany and Melanie does the third call, then you are only responsible for doing 1 call that whole month. And I think I could get my family on board with that, but me, doing it every single Saturday, and, being on every Monday night call, and all the extra, one-on-one calls that I do in the evenings for people that work, like, it just really became a lot. And that's a whole personal issue, but it was a lot. And I, was slacking on a lot of the family stuff that I should have been doing instead of whatever.
Hey,
But
we get it. We get it.
yeah. I mean, I know you do, but I think, that would be doable for any family that says, I just need to do the second Saturday of every month or whatever. I think that might, and if we could together come up with an outline of general points, general topics, whatever, and we do need to also look at Monday night calls. What are we hitting on that Monday night call that week, so we're not duplicating? Because the Rockstar call should be elevated. So maybe, for example, the Monday night call, we're talking about host coaching. Well, what if that Saturday we go more in depth or different related host coaching topic, still the same topic, but more in depth, more unique and elevated version of the basics. I don't know.
And I think we need to make it that if you have an assigned Saturday and you can't make it, it's our responsibility to find. Don't be putting it all in the chat. You just reach out, put it in the chat, but it's our responsibility to not just trade out but to switch, to make sure to make it even. So if I couldn't do the second, but Stacy could, I'll take her Saturday.
Yes, I agree. So why don't we do this? I will come up with like a basic, I'll come out with the dates that we're looking at. I'll put a general topic, and then I'll give y'all the Google Doc. We can go in, and I'd love for everybody to kind of go in and think like, what would be related to that? What are some things we could? So it doesn't have to be a word for word, script, but bullet points of, okay, if we're talking about host coaching, what are some of the things we could include in that? And if we're talking about recruiting, what, so that way anybody that does a Monday night call could look at that Google document and feel equipped to speak on it. Does that sound good? Okay. I know we've gone over time. Is there anything else that y'all wanted to chat about before? Any questions? All right. Well, I appreciate y'all being on here, and I appreciate everything that you all do. You all are amazing, and I love you this big. Thank you. And if you all have a rock star on your team, send me a message, because now is the time to be looking at who's going to promote this month. So I went through my personal team, and I was looking at anybody that has $2,500 or $3,000 in sales, y'all, they need to be on your list to be checking in and promoting them this month. So look through, if your personal team, and then if you have a director under you, go look under their team and tell me anybody that either has $2,500 in sales or more, or has a couple active team members. And then I'll give you all the words and what we can do to get them promoted. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okie dokie.
Bye, friends.
All right. Have a good one.
Talk to you
Bye.
later.
Bye, ladies. Everybody have a good one.